Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Microsoft 365 Pulse Roadmap recording. That's quite a mouthful to get started with. And today you're going to get the Tam Tom version of the show with Tamara and myself, Tom. Everybody else is off busy doing other things that their workday requires. So, with that, what we will do, if this is one of the first times you've joined us, is we cover the roadmap items that have come out. We look at four different categories. One is in development, which means Microsoft is working on it and they have a projected date when it's going to roll out. We then move into rolling out, which means it's starting to work its way through the cycles to get to the tenant or tenants that it's intended to go to. The final one is launched, which means if you have that particular tenant type, you should have this particular feature by that point in time. The fourth category, which sometimes we have and sometimes we don't, is canceled, which can be they decided not to do it or they found a duplicate on the roadmap or things like that. We do have one of those this week, which we will get to at the end of our broadcast, webcast, whatever we're calling it today. With that, I'm going to let my dear wife kick it off with in development. What would you like to cover, Tamara?
I would like to cover Microsoft Teams frosted glass backgrounds
I love the name of
in
that.
Teams meetings. So, what it is frosted glass is a type of background effect that helps users keep their privacy with a background blur, but in a more professional and creative way. It lets users have graphics with the blur effect together. So, frosted glass can be activated with a PNG image that usually comes with some graphics in a transparent background. Now, with the new frosted glass effect, the transparent area is turned into a blue or a blurred background, while the graphic element remains part of the background effect. So I thought that was very interesting. You could combine the graphics and a blurred background together.
Yeah, that's something that I probably will end up trying because more often than not, I just go with the blurred background because I don't have anything as nice and fancy as what you have. So having something that's a little bit more, hey, here's an image, we're going to slightly blur it. I'm all for that. So that's cool.
And then the
Any,
only other thing that I had in development was Microsoft Teams QR code to reserve a room on team panels. So this feature lets users easily book a room for meeting now and in the future or as part of a scheduled meeting by scanning a QR code on the scheduling panel with their mobile devices. So this requires Teams mobile app on Android or iOS mobile device. And that's supposed to come out the end of August. And that's coming out to Teams for GCC High and worldwide and GCC. So everybody except the DoD gets some love there.
cool. So I've got a couple that I will go ahead and touch on. If you're a fan of Microsoft syntax, optical character recognition, or also known as OCR, is coming out for both Exchange and Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive. So customers will be able to turn on OCR for images in Exchange and Teams on a pay-as-you-go basis, which is nice if you don't want to sign up for some, you know, big chunk of money and you're not sure whether you're going to be using it or not. The extracted text will be available for compliance scenarios such as DLP, and the text will also be available for Microsoft Search. So that would be really nice. The other iteration of it, which was the Microsoft SharePoint and OneDrive, you'll be able to turn on the OCR images for the images in either SharePoint or OneDrive on a pay-as-you-go basis. The extracted text will be made available to Microsoft Search and Microsoft Purview. So for your compliance stuff, that will make it really nice to start picking up text that you have in images to make sure that data is not going out like it should or shouldn't. That's a really good thing to have. And then Microsoft Stream, add videos to playlist from OneDrive and SharePoint. So for videos stored in OneDrive or SharePoint, this feature will allow you to add videos to playlists. Upon selecting these videos, now users will also have an option to add this to playlists from a modal window that shows the user's playlist and the recent ones that they have accessed. So they're giving you more capabilities to, when you have stuff stored in the new version of Stream, you can get those playlists out there, which is great for keeping track of, hey, I want to go watch this, I haven't got to it yet, or to be able to put playlists together that say, you should watch these 6 videos and you should watch them in this order because they kind of, course-like type material. So that's going to be nice. That should be out in June, and that's coming across to everybody. And let me see if I had anything else. One more, Microsoft Teams click-through collaborative annotation layer. So users are now able to click through the annotation layer to interact with content in meetings without restarting the current annotation session. So normally when you're sharing your screen and you turn annotation on, it kind of freezes the screen. And you can then start drawing on the screen and making markup on what was frozen in time when you started the annotation. But if you ever wanted to get back and actually do something different to the screen, you really couldn't. Now you're going to be able to do that and click through that annotation to actually do something with the underlying content without having to kill off what you've done with annotation so far and then try to restart it back up again, which I'm not sure actually pulls the annotations back in again. However, that's supposed to be coming out in July, and that too is coming out to all the tenants, GCC, GCC High, DoD, and worldwide. So anything else you want to touch on before we move on, Tamara?
I'm good to go.
Then we'll move on to rolling out, which means it should be coming to a tenant near you soon. And why don't you go ahead and get us started on that category?
Sure. Microsoft Teams new channels experience. New channels experience built with an intuitive design that help teams focus and actively engage. So the new channels experience includes the compose box, and recent posts will appear at the top of the page. Every post will now have a conversation view and in the new right pane with the channel's key information. That's rolling out end of May, and that's coming to everybody, Enterprise, GCC, GCC High, and the DoD.
Looking forward to seeing that one. I'm liking the way that they're going to be, grouping posts to where you have they almost become a topic in and of themselves. So that's going to be really nice to see.
Cool. And
Anything
then
else?
Universal Print, secure release with QR code on Microsoft Office mobile app. So what you can do is you can secure release prevents waste from unnecessary printing and maintains user privacy by holding their jobs until they show up at the printer. Universal Print will allow secure release to be configured for any printer, and users can retrieve their print jobs by scanning a QR code and using the Microsoft Office mobile app. Now, users are going to need to be authenticated with their work or school account, and QR code-based release will work with both Universal Print ready printers and printers using the Universal Print connector. And we may add more secure release options in the future.
Cool.
The last thing I wanted to touch on was expanded view for profile cards. This is in Microsoft Teams. I love these profile cards because I especially like that they tell me what time zone the person is in. So it makes me a lot more respectful when I'm setting up a time to meet with them, that I'm not setting it up for like 3:30 in their morning.
Yeah, especially with your clients, because they can be anywhere.
They can be anywhere in the world, exactly. So with expanded view of the profile card, users will now be able to see a richer view of the person's profile, such as their contact data, custom properties, and their LinkedIn information, if that's allowed by the organization. Now, this expansion also enables the user to view richer organization chart information about the person that they're interacting with without leaving the context that they're in.
Very cool.
So those are my two favorite ones.
So
or three.
I was going to say, I think there were 3 there.
Counting is hard.
Yeah, math is hard. Math is difficult. It's the end of the day. Microsoft Search, people-centric search in SharePoint and Office for DoD.
Yay!
People-centric search is a pattern that lets you zoom in on a person to view, explore, and search the enterprise graph around them. It's kind of like Delve. So that's now rolling out to DoD, which will be nice if you want to try to, pick a person and see more about what they're working on and what they're doing and things like that. You'll only see what you have permissions to see. That's security trimmed, goes through everything in Microsoft 365, but it gives you a much richer view of the person and where they fit in and how they might interact with things that you're doing. Another one that we actually received in our client is Microsoft Teams work hours and location. So Microsoft is very well aware that we have a very hybrid type environment now. And just to say Monday through Friday, I work 6 to 5, you know, okay, where? Is that your schedule every day of the week? Are you always working remote or are you always working in the office? This work hours and location actually now allows you to go in and say, here's the days of the week I'm working. Here's the hours I'm working for each one of those days separately. And am I working remote or am I working in the office? You can even go in and say, okay, for like Wednesday, I'm working in the office from 6 until noon, but then I'm working remote from 1 until 4. And you can have those things separated out. It will also go in and say, okay, the next available time slot, calendar time slot in Outlook, work hours, local time. It's going to make it a lot easier to find who is where at any given time. And again, for people like myself who I don't have an office close by, I will always be remote. It's not that big of a deal. But I know that some people are like, well, I work in the office Monday through Friday or Monday and Friday, but I work remote Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. How do you specify that on your work week availability? Right now, you don't. With these changes, you will. It'll be really nice. I'm looking forward to that one coming out in Teams. It's out actually in Outlook on the web right now. You can go do that. This particular one that they have here is listed for Teams, and that will allow you to do it both in Teams and in Outlook on the web. So with that, we'll go ahead, keep rolling on because we're done with rolling out. And we will do launched. I'm sorry, that was really bad. It was a stretch. It was lame. Give me a break.
Mhm.
With launched, how would you like to lead us off with that one, Tamara?
Sure. Microsoft Teams avatars for Microsoft Teams. Avatars for Microsoft Teams, according to Microsoft, give you a much needed camera break while still allowing you to collaborate effectively. You can add a new layer of choice to your meetings and represent yourself the way you want with customizable avatars and reactions. In fact, I just did a tips and tricks on this where you can actually pin your favorite avatar reactions to the top of the reactions pane. So you can quickly get to things like, yes, or you're too kind, or peace out. That is an option. And that's
Oh,
coming, that should be to you now because it rolled out in May. And that is for the standard multi-tenant environment.
too funny. Yeah, we have not enabled it in our environment, and I'm not sure we will, but things could change. The one that I'll go ahead and comment on, because there's not that many that we have in launched,
No,
and that is Microsoft commenting. And I did a tip on this
whiteboard
one, or
commenting.
whiteboard, I'm sorry, whiteboard commenting.
Mm-hmm.
So Microsoft, in a lot of the Microsoft 365 applications, such as Word, PowerPoint, things like that, has gone with something they call modern commenting. And usually in one of those files, you'll see in the right-hand pane, you'll see a comment area where you put comments and you can thread them in there and put a person's name in it to, alert them to it. Well, now that same commenting feature has come to Whiteboard. So when you're in Whiteboard and you've got a little panel over on the left-hand side, you'll see a new little um, it looks like a little chat icon, but it's, comment bubble. You click on that and it pops up a little square on the screen. That looks like your modern commenting. And so you can go ahead and put the comment in there, and then it gives you the opportunity to reply to that comment, which then indents it. And if you click outside that box, it collapses the box down so it doesn't overlay or interfere with what you're doing in the whiteboard, but it
Nice.
retains the little icon there. In my case, if I started, it would go ahead and reduce down to a little icon, and the icon would have my picture in it. So you could say, oh, that was a comment from Tom. Let me click on it and open it up. And you can drag it around if you want to and put it somewhere else. So that's for the commenting should be out to, looks like came to everybody. So GCC, GCC High, DOD, and worldwide. You should have it now. Came out in May and should be in a tent near you. Anything else on the launched?
Nope, I'm
Okay,
good.
we're gonna breeze through this one real quickly. The only other one that we have is one that is canceled, and it's Microsoft Teams appointment queue in GCC. This was to empower employees to manage and service scheduled and on-demand appointments in one location with advanced capabilities to track wait times, live status, and so on and so forth. This item is being removed as a duplicate of another one. So don't get concerned if you're waiting for this, you're still going to get it. It's just going to be tracked under a different number. And that's what cancellations do a lot of times. So, and with that, you now have all the roadmap items that we thought you'd be interested in. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your, what is today, Wednesday? Yes, today is Wednesday. Have a great
Yes.
rest of your Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. And hopefully we may do this again next week. You're at a conference, so you're not going to be available. I'm working from the hotel room at the conference, so I may be available. It may just be a Tom show. I don't know. We may see you next week. We may not see you next week. Join in. We'll post one way or the other. So with that, everybody have a great one, and we will talk to you later. Bye, everyone.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.